And how are you guys doing with all the craziness that's going on?
I'm locked up in my house. I'm not moving out. I'm really scared.
Are you all in Bangalore?
Yeah, I am. A lot of my colleagues have gone back home considering the office has been closed for some time. So for now, yeah.
You guys can see my screen and the banner, right?
Yes.
Yes, Kashyap.
Okay. So let's start. Welcome back, everyone. We have completed 11 very informative knowledge sessions today. Our next session is a fireside chat. The discussion will have Arjun Nair, co-founder of Great Learning. Arjun is very passionate about building sustainable businesses that have social impact. And because of this passion, Arjun co-founded Great Learning to leverage technology and operational excellence and transform education for millions of learners. And joining Arjun will be Sejuti Das, Associate Editor at Analytics India magazine. Together, Arjun and Sejuti will discuss the online higher education landscape in India. They will talk us through the different types of online education available and how to choose the best learning path. They will also present us how online degrees are changing, how online degrees are changing the landscape and what the future holds for all of us. Attendees and participants, you can drop your questions in the Q&A tab or the chat box, which Sejuti and Arjun can take up as they deem fit during the session or at the end, depending on that. So with that note, I'll stop sharing and you guys can start.
Thank you.
So good evening. Hi, Kashyap. Thanks for introducing the session and welcome, Arjun. It's great to have you on this discussion.
Thank you,
So-
Sejuti, and good evening, everyone.
So, as Kashyap rightly mentioned, today we will touch upon a few aspects of the online higher education landscape in India. We all know the digitization of education has paved an amazing way, to enhance and acquire relevant skills in the current era. Along with that, even the entire skilling landscape has given us a lot of options to embark on a learning journey. So we want to understand more on the higher online higher education space. So Arjun, you will be the right person to guide us through it. We will dive right into the questions. To set the context, the entire audience would like to know, considering internet and the new age technologies has brought about several ways to learn online. If you can share your thoughts on the types of online education currently available for learners.
Yeah, no, it's actually a very interesting time that we are living in. Never before this kind of access was there. So, even if you just look at something free, as YouTube is a fantastic platform for you to learn, pretty much everything under the sun right now, right? So similarly, there are other MOOCs, if you were to look at and get a splash across multiple areas just for you to explore what is interesting, right? So it's very interesting, the options that are there. Now, one way to think of this is, and even we have a platform called Great Learning Academy, which is, which has got a ton of content, about few thousand hours of content across topics to learn from. So one way to look at this is to say, what stage of learning or exploration are you in? Are you at a point where, you don't know whether this is a career for you or not, and you're just interested in the topic, like whether it's digital marketing or, data science or AI or machine learning, you just want to know what is it? In which case, of course, I would say go for something like YouTube or, find something really, really small, short. It's hopefully taught by a good professor or a good faculty or an industry expert. Just get a sense of what that is. And that's the kind of stuff that is there on Great Learning Academy as well, which will give you a taste of what this is really in. And then later on, or if you are then certain that this is the area for you to build your career in, and then you're looking for a transformative learning experience, then at that point, then I would recommend, then you start investing into a longer term program, which is more substantive, whether it's a postgraduate program or it's a degree program or any of those, where it can run anywhere from 6 months to 1 year or 2 years, because now you're talking about, building your career in a certain area. So that necessitates a certain amount of depth. And of course, when thankfully in online learning today, there are options across that entire spectrum, right? We ourselves do courses in just certificate courses. We do degree programs with Indian universities, with universities abroad, MS, MSc, MBA, and of course the non-degree certificate programs across the entire spectrum, right? So there are a few things that come into play, and I think we will get more into this later on as well. So at that point, what you're looking for really is, peer interaction, faculty interaction, live learning, structure, a certain pace, substantive assessments, hands-on projects, feedback and personalized guidance for your projects, a certain structure and pace where every week there is live interaction. Many of those components come together. Because now we're not talking just about access to content, we're actually talking about the learning process, which enables you to have a certain desired learning experience and outcome, which will eventually lead to a career transition or a career outcome where you build a certain depth in your knowledge, right? So that's the entire spectrum, all the way from just taking a dipstick and seeing whether you want to learn this, to the other extreme where you're now saying that I'm committed to this for several months or possibly years, and 4 or 5 hours, 8 hours per week over a long period of time. So it depends on, and the entire option, the entire spectrum is there for everyone to learn and get access to now.
Correct. So I think that's the beauty of having, online right at your hand, when you have either you want to explore the subject or you want to dive into it, in depth, you have the possibility to access that. Correct. So we see increasingly there are these traditional colleges from abroad. They are continuously partnering with edtech players, for that matter, like yourself, Great Learning. How is this benefiting learners in India?
Again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Traditionally, let's say if you wanted to learn some of the areas that we are talking about, let's say data science or cloud computing, machine learning, AI, cybersecurity, any of these in-demand areas, you would have to try and see. I'm not talking about the superficial, average kind of learning that you can get from something very cheap and superficial. But if you really wanted to have a career transformative learning experience, you would have tried to get into an IIT or an IIM or foreign universities and so on. But the reality of it is very few people actually get it, right? Very few people actually have access to that. So that is where today things are changing. And universities, so we have partnerships with IIT Madras, we have a partnership with IIT Hyderabad, with IIT Roorkee, Great Lakes Institute of Management in India, several other universities in India, and abroad we work with Stanford universities, MIT, with Northwestern University, where we have a MS degree, UT Austin. So so in these cases, what's happening is now these are the best institutions from around the world. So it works both ways. Traditionally, these universities could not accommodate them into a physical campus. Now, of course, with the power of technology, with the power of the processes that are there in terms of learning experience and excellence through certain product capabilities, it's possible for you to have a high quality learning experience online, where you have access to these faculty members and you have access to a high quality learning experience, projects, assessments, feedback, all of those components, peer interaction, and what we're calling mentored learning, where they come every weekend, get guidance from an industry expert in a small group of 15 learners. All of this is possible. So universities are partnering because they care about quality, and an edtech player such as us can actually deliver that quality online, right? Otherwise, that is why, let's say, an IIT in a physical campus will not bring in thousands of people, but because there's no way they can actually deliver and cater to their needs. But today, with the capability that a platform such as ours will provide, all those components, tracking students' feedback, giving them personalized attention, giving the professors and faculty and industry experts the ability to monitor and teach several thousands of learners at the same time. So that capability is what we provide faculty and universities. And then from the learner's perspective, of course, they have now access to all these high quality faculty members. They have access to high quality projects, hands-on experience, industry experts. So these platforms are really amplifying the scale of high quality institutions and how high quality faculty members. So that's what we do. We enable high quality institutions to amplify their scale. And as a result of that, learners from not just India, from all over the world will have access to a high quality learning experience. So that's where both these platforms work very well from a technology product operations capability. But separate to that, in some areas, in at least the areas in which we are focused in, like data science, AI, machine learning, in many of these areas, it's not just about the technology, it's also about the kind of projects that you do, the lab support that is there, the feedback that you're getting on every single assessment that you deliver. Because it's not possible, let's say, for an educational institution to grade the assessments of thousands of students in a single day or in a single week and give each one personalized attention and personalized feedback. But we do that every week, but that's exactly what we're doing. Similarly, it's impossible for these institutions then to administer all these assessments, make sure that they are proctored, examinations are being done, cheating is not happening, feedback is being done, query handling is happening, students are getting support. So there is one technology and operations piece of it. There is another piece which is around just making sure that feedback, customer service, all of that is in place. And then the third is, of course, this concept of mentor learning, where we are bringing industry experts to show how what they're learning in data science, AI, machine learning, and so on are actually applied in the industry to solve real world problems. And all of this is what is actually enabling them, a learner, to finally have a career outcome. So it's great for both sides. It's of course fantastic for the universities because they're able to increase their reach and the impact that they're having. And for learners, it's fantastic because they have now access to high quality institutions and a learning process. And platforms such as us are benefiting because we are able to create this, a platform for both sides to come and meet and have a very high quality learning process.
Correct. That's really true and very rightly pointed out. The whole concept has been revolutionized with this entire partnership with abroad foreign universities. Gives a lot of access for the Indian learners. You mentioned about mentored learning. So that brings me to my next point, or next question rather. We understand the whole difference between self-paced courses or classroom-based courses. If you can tell us how can these mentored learning can guide us or guide the learners during their learning journey and
so this
solve their difficulties. Please. Yes.
Yeah, no, this is actually something that we developed as a concept of mentored learning because of just trial and error. When we first started our online program about 4 years back, we also went with the approach of creating self-paced modules. They were high quality faculty teaching and it's primarily content. But what we found out was that outcomes were not there. People were not completing the courses and many of them had doubts and they were not getting career transformations, right? They were not having learning outcomes, they were not having career outcomes. It was happening for a select few, but let's say 3, 4, 5% of the learners who went for the self-paced modules had outcomes, which is what led us to look at this again from first principles and say, what are the components that actually create a high quality outcome, where from a learning perspective as well as from a career perspective. That's where we realized that self-paced courses does not lend itself to those. It works very well for a motivated, highly motivated set of people who can sustain their energy for 6 months, 1 year, but it doesn't work for the majority of the people, right? It's like going to the gym versus getting a trainer, right? The gym will work if you're super, if you're into it already, but a trainer is likely to get you the results that you're looking for. So what are the components of mentored learning, right? Number one is that every weekend there is an event that is happening, right? So that itself will set you in a mindset of learning. Every weekend there is a class, and this class is in a group of just 15 or 20 learners. So which means that you are now going to have a relationship that you're building with the mentor and with all the other 15, 20 people that is there in your cohort. So this actually itself creates a huge impact because now you need to come up for this live class that's happening on the weekend. Because if you don't, you're letting yourself down. You're letting yourself down in front of your guru or your peer. So that creates a certain pressure for you to continue. And it's also enjoyable because now you're talking to each other, you're learning from each other. It creates all of that. So this is a flipped classroom approach. So self-paced learning, self-paced courses, they look at that, they get their basic doubts and concepts cleared. And then they come for the live interactive session on the weekend where they meet everybody and work on a project together. At that point, they get their doubts cleared, and then they'll apply what they've learned in that week on a real world problem. And when they do that, that's when that aha moment happens. Oh, I've learned about clustering. Now I actually understand, in the telecom sector, where do you use it? And here is an example where the mentor is actually an expert from the telecom sector who's telling you how they've actually implemented this and the outcomes that they've had, right? So that is this concept of mentor learning, where we're saying there is a mentor who's going to guide you through your learning process and give you personalized guidance on what is it that you're learning and how does it apply to the industry. The second aspect is of personalized guidance, where suppose you do a project, and in the way we structure courses, that there are projects. Suppose you do a project, and in the project you've actually done something different from your peer, your colleague who's in it. Now, if you don't like the way in which most self-paced modules will work is that there is a model solution that is given. But now you don't know why what you did is actually not a better approach, right? But in this concept of mentor learning, what happens is that when you come together and discuss, the mentor is giving you personalized feedback and saying, this approach is right and this approach is wrong. And many times in the real world, it is subjective. There is no there's no ideal solution, right? Many times it's subjective and different approaches are important. So that concept of different people coming together with their thoughts and with their approaches and coming together in a group and then discussing actually has much better outcomes. So that's the second thing. So these are some of the components that come together when we say, why does mentor learning have better outcomes? These are the reasons. And finally, it's also around career advice, because the mentor is very likely somebody who's gone through this journey 2, 3, 4 years earlier. So as a learner who's looking at this and saying, how do I break into a career in data science or machine learning? How do I become an AI engineer? Now, you can't get that from a self-paced video that you're watching. But this is somebody who's sitting there in front of you, gone through the process 3, 4 years before you, and you can ask them, how did you do this? Where did you come from? What are the specific actions that you did? So this is where we say that when you go through mentor learning, you have better learning outcomes, and you also have better career outcomes, right? So this is something that we've implemented. And today, as a result of all of this, we have more than 95% completion rate in our courses. For these sessions, we get feedback of more than 4.5 or 4.6 on 5, right? And that's part of the reason why our courses and our programs are successful. A big component of it is because of what we call and what we've implemented as far as mentor learning is concerned.
Correct. Yeah, very rightly explained how mentored learning can make a lot of difference in a data science learning journey. Let's go back to understanding the education landscape. So, Arjun, we see that the market for online degree programs has dramatically increased. So, how are these online degrees changing the education landscape? If you can shed some light on it.
So, online degrees is a very relatively new development, right? It's pretty much all of this has happened in the last 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, where the government has allowed universities which are ranked among the top in the country to create and offer online degree programs. So now you have degree programs in MBA, MCA, MCOM, BBA, BA, all the entire range is there. Now, what's also interesting is that several of our universities are not set up to do this, right? So it's not set up because they've done traditional. Even the top universities, several of them, they've done traditional degree programs in their campuses, but online is a completely different beast because the person is not in front of you. You cannot track them. So you need a full technology infrastructure and you need a process infrastructure to be able to do something like that. So we are, to what I said earlier, we are partnering with several educational institutions. In India, with universities, we partner with PES, with SRM, with Jain University. We have a new partnership that's going to be announced in a couple of days with another top-ranked university. So we work with these universities to offer degree programs. As in, the university offers a degree program, but we provide a platform for a university to be able to do this and track students and their progress. So again, what it does is many students who could not afford or take the time off to go for, let's say, our program with Jayan, we have an MBA in data science and analytics. So now to go, there are many students, especially the younger audience, who would like an MBA degree in data science, but they don't have the time or the financial ability to go do that full-time MBA program in Bangalore. But now you're able to do that online, right? And in an area like data science or AI or machine learning, and of course this is an AIM conference where you know that the number of jobs that are amazing, right? So I think there's an AIM study itself that has said that there are close to 1 lakh jobs in data science and AI which are lying vacant because there isn't enough talent. So so looking at things like that, now the MBA degree that we are offering is in data science and analytics. Similarly, we have an MCA degree in AI and machine learning, right, with Jain University. So what this does is it gives an opportunity for especially the younger audience who care for the degree. The older audience may not necessarily care for a degree. They may just care for the learning. But when you're 21, 22, 23, especially when there is parents' pressure and all of that, they ask you to go do a degree program. And now you have an opportunity to do a degree program from a high quality institution, a top ranked institution. And you're doing a degree in an area that has a lot of jobs, data science, AI, machine learning, and so on. And you're having a high quality learning experience because we are providing the platform and we are providing all the things that I talked about earlier with respect to mentor learning and processes and projects and hands-on and all of that. So this again is a great way in which we are able to leverage expertise and assets that different institutions have, the faculty and the brand recognition and this degree is a UGC approved degree. So that will qualify you for government jobs. It will qualify you for many jobs will require you to have an MBA degree. So it will qualify you for those things. So you're getting an MBA degree or an MCA degree or MTech or whatever it is. You're getting that degree in areas like data science, AI, machine learning, and you're going through a rigorous learning process provided by the technology and process platform that we are providing. So this is a very interesting development. I don't know how big it will be this first year because everybody is getting used to it. Parents, kids, they're all getting used to the idea of online degree. But I think in the coming years, this is going to be a total game changer because what's going to happen is there is going to be convergence. And rather than going to a second tier, third tier, poor quality institution, even if it is a physical institution, people are going to choose a high quality online degree because they are getting a high quality MBA degree or an MCA degree online at a fraction of the cost, and better outcomes are going to happen. So this is going to happen in the next few years, where it's now possible to get an online degree in these leading areas where there are jobs, and it's going to be supported by platforms such as ours, and so on.
Correct. I totally agree with you. I mean, even if it is taking some time right now to, for people to grasp the entire new normal of, online learning, but I'm sure in the coming years, this is going to be the normal that, people will prefer choosing an online degree over any physical classroom because it gives the same amount of experience.
I don't know if I think if you can get into an IIT or an IIM for a full-time MBA program, I think you will still choose that. And even my advice will be to do that. So I don't think it will be any, but as I said, the number of people who will get into that is so small. So for majority of the people, instead of choosing a second tier, third tier, it will be better to do this.
Correct. Fair enough. So we are nearing the end. To summarize it, we would really like to know what does the future hold for all of us regarding online education and how this edtech space is impacting online education landscape in India.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to stay. Some form of online plus blended learning is the future, as we discussed right now, because of the benefits it provides. Today there is going, the number of jobs that are there in these leading areas, data science, AI, machine learning. I think I'm sure the AIM audience knows that. And in terms of the gap that exists, which is why we're having this conversation and everybody is talking about the talent not being there to fill those jobs, right? So I think that talent is going to get created by a platform such as ours, where we are providing people with the necessary learning that is needed, as well as the career orientation in terms of resume building, how to crack a job interview. All the softer aspects are also there. It's not just about what you know, it's also about how you can present it and show a list of projects and portfolio that you're able to demonstrate when you go to an employer. So we'll create those things for our learners, and when they go through these platforms, then outcomes are going to happen. So I think this is definitely the future. Today, we have about 1.2 or 1.3 learners, registered learners in our Great Learning Academy, who are going through various courses. All of them are free, and some portion of them are then going and taking some of our PG programs and our degree programs, and then some portion of them are of course going and getting into various interesting, exciting roles, submitting patents, starting companies, doing paper presentations. So all kinds of outcomes are happening. And we're just in the beginning to see what happens when you provide high quality learning to hundreds and thousands and potentially millions of people. That kind of reach and impact was never possible before, and we're just starting to do that. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in the next few months and years.
Correct. So all the best, Arjun. And that was great. The insights were really informative. I'm sure it gave a lot of understanding for our attendees, how the online higher education space is running in India. I think we have a few questions, but over to you, Kashyap.
Yeah, I think we have one question in the Q&A tab, but I'm not sure if it was covered entirely or partially throughout the session, but Arjun would be the perfect person. So the question is, which is the best in class degree program or a certification program?
See, obviously our programs are the best in class if you're looking at against our competition. At least I'm very biased that way. But if the question is around, what should you choose, whether it's a...
Yeah, I think the question was around like which course is the best.
See, that really depends. I think, if I start going down that path, it will take several minutes, which we can't finish. So, I would recommend you to give us a call, go to our website and see our number. And then you should give us a call and we can counsel you on which is the best program for you, because it depends a lot on what are you looking for, where are you in, how many years of work experience do you have, what have you done in the past. So it's an answer that has to be customized to your background.
Yeah, I think there's one more question, and Gautam is asking, any collaborations on the way for PhD coursework? Any collaborations with doctoral?
Yeah, we don't have anything for PhD. I am not sure if there are platforms that are possible for online PhD programs. What I do know is that some of our programs, if you do complete it, you do get, like for example, the Northwestern program, if you complete it, you get, and even the other degree programs that you do in India, you do get credits for your PhD. So, you can reduce the course load for your PhD by doing the master's degree programs, but there is no direct path to a PhD by doing any of our programs.
Okay. I think those are all the questions in the Q&A tab. If anybody else has a question, you can catch up with Arjun again in the lounge area. Apart from that, there are also mentoring sessions going on. So if anybody wants to do a one-on-one session with a mentor, they can book a slot, a 15-minute slot, and do that. Otherwise, we still have a minute, but we can wrap up the session, right? Arjun, do you have any closing remarks?
No, I think there's another question here that's...
Yeah, Kashyap, we can take that up. Any program that offers a master's degree which can be completed in 1 year?
There are actually, but some of them will take a little longer. I don't know if it can be done. See, master's degree according to UGC has certain guidelines. So I don't know if you can exactly finish it in a year, but something like 15 to 18 months is possible. So again, talk to us. It's basically the government guidelines that we have to follow there. If it's a master's degree, UGC approved degree program, unlikely that you can do it within a year. It has to be like 15 to 18 months, sometimes even longer. Certificate programs are there within 1 year, but the degree program will take a little longer. But again, talk to us. We'll be able to help you with that.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So that comes to the end of our session. Thank you so much, Arjun, for your time. I'm sure it was very helpful for people to understand the entire landscape of online education in data science, and I'm sure that people will be encouraged to pursue a career in data science and take up courses in great learning. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks everyone, and good luck and stay safe. It's pretty
Thank you,
crazy.
Arjun.